anticipated announcements from Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and a whole host of video game publishers. E3 is one of the most important video gaming events of the year, probably the biggest event in video games. Joining us by phone with a ground's eye view on what's going on at E3 this year, Scam School host and TWiT E3 reporter, Mr. Brian Brushwood, also of the infamous Not Safe for Work podcast on the TWiT network.
NSFW is actually very much safe for work. But yeah, an avid gamer in there. You could throw that in the mix as well.
I should put avid gamer and man who's being photographed constantly because of his extraordinary hair. Dude, what's your favorite thing so far at E3 this year?
Far and away, the favorite thing is just seeing how big and over the top they've gotten it back to being. You know, 4 years ago when they made the announcement that they were going to scale things down, that they were going to make it more of a smaller media event, that they started hosting things in airplane hangars, was a big bummer to me because some of my fondest memories are just how big, over-the-top, outrageous the E3 floor is. This year is as big and as huge as I ever remember it from the past. All of the South Wing filled up, all of the West Wing filled up, a bunch of permanent rooms for people taking meetings. This is as big as gaming gets.
So tell me, is anybody getting a chance to see the Microsoft's Kinect, the motion control camera up close? Are they doing any demos on that?
Yep, they've got demos of everything as you go through the Xbox 360 area, and this is an interesting logistical way they had to handle it. Obviously, if you have a bunch of people jumping and flailing all around, you're going to have liability issues, and the fact that random passersby are going to be interrupting everyone's game. So they've set up a little Habitrail, these little Habitrail bubbles where people, they're like in a fishbowl, and everyone sits there and watches them hopping all around as they pretend to whitewater raft or pet fake tigers.
What did you think of the $150 kitty petting simulator?
I'm really surprised to see Microsoft taking such a big step in a direction that's clearly already owned by the Wii. Mm-hmm. It's like they're trying to play the Wii's game, but not even doing it as well as the Wii. The only thing that I saw out of the entire Microsoft press event that I thought they really were doing right was I believe Your Body was the title of it, where that does look like there's potential. If somebody could capture for guys, essentially P90X with a robot, slave driver of a trainer, then I think that would actually work for the Xbox demographic. But outside of that, I don't really see it as a fit.
Okay, so I'm sensing a thumbs down on the Kinect motion control camera. Any 360 titles you're excited about that you've seen so far?
Oh, a ton of 360 titles coming out. And first of all, let me qualify. I'm only saying thumbs down. I still haven't done it yet. Okay. This could be like the iPhone experience, the iPad experience, where once you touch it, once you've done it, you fall in love with it. But from what I'm seeing so far, it's just a surprising departure from the space that normally Microsoft really owns strongly, which is the hardcore gamers who like to play online against their friends.
Okay, caveat noted. What are the titles that do have you actually excited for the 360?
Oh, man, I guess it's rumored. I still haven't seen any of the stuff over at BioWare's booth, but there's talk of Mass Effect 3, which we'll see if that's confirmed. Of course, that may be out of date by the time this actually goes to air. Same thing with Dragon Age 2. Those are the ones I'm looking forward to. Far and away, though, the Xbox 360 title I'm most interested in is Rock Band 3. On the one hand, you have the rhythm game is an aging platform now. The novelty has worn off. And Harmonix has done something very unusual in that they've actually started to bridge the gap between playing for fun, goofy rhythm games, and actually learning how to play an instrument. Two things they're doing. One thing, they've released a new keyboard controller, 25-key keyboard, and as the notes come down, you actually have to hit the right notes, and you're actually playing the keyboard parts to all these songs. And especially with a lot of songs from the 80s, you got a lot of synth and keyboard. Second thing they're doing is the Xbox, I assume for multi-platform, but they've got the pro-grade guitar with, I believe it's over 100 buttons on there. Each of the buttons are long and narrow and thin, so they feel like strings. And in the pro mode, you actually have to form the proper chords. You actually need to pluck the proper strings in order to play the music. So you actually learn the real stuff. And this could be the way that it keeps itself relevant in the long term.
I like it. Nintendo 3DS, you excited about the 3D version of the DS? You travel constantly. Are you traveling with a Nintendo at this point, a pocket gamer?
By all accounts, Nintendo knocked it out of the park with their press event when they revealed the Nintendo 3DS in addition to what was expected, which is very important, a 3D display that does not require you to wear goofy glasses. We understand that when you go to the movie theater, you might wear goofy glasses. That's a very specific place, but around the house, I just don't see people doing it. They induce headaches in some people. They're uncomfortable. But when it comes to an object that you can hold in your hand, you can position it just right, and you get the 3D effects. And it's not just the games. First of all, they did add an analog stick to it, and there's 3 cameras on this thing.
Wow.
There's 2 cameras on the back that allow you to actually take 3D photographs that can be displayed in 3D, and there's also a front-facing camera as well. On top of that, apparently there's talk that that Hollywood releases of 3D movies will be coming to the 3DS. So you'll be able to watch movies like Avatar. I don't know if that particular one will be in there, but you'll be able to watch movies in 3D. And there's talk about patches to existing games that will upgrade them so you can actually play existing titles in 3D on your Nintendo 3DS.
So Nintendo once again having a thoughtful, well-organized, and highly planned rollout. Any idea what the titles on the 3DS are going to be when it ships?
Some of the talk was there's a new Kirby game, and it was almost as though it was the greatest hits of all their greatest franchises from the past. Donkey Kong Returns, and a number of other titles as well.
Anything big on the Wii this year, or is that pretty much on the down low while they work on the 3DS?
Biggest thing people are talking about on the Wii is Warren Spector's Epic Mickey game. The art design and the direction is very unique, and Warren Spector, of course, has an excellent pedigree. He created the Deus Ex franchise. He created System Shock. It'll be really interesting to see where he goes, adding dark imagery to a traditionally very lighthearted character with Mickey Mouse.
I was going to say, those titles to Mickey, it's like a Marvel reimagining of the universe. Mickey goes dark.
One more comment on the Mickey thing. Yeah, there's entire levels where they actually go back to this black and white kind of Steamboat Willie aesthetic. Is really interesting to see.
Wow, that's actually, I'm tempted to see that one. Sony's motion controller, it's a Wii with a blue gumdrop on top. Are you feeling that? Everybody's getting into the motion controls.
Boy, they sure are, and all the games look exactly the same. They all have a sporting game, they all have a dance game, they all have a workout game. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody can out-Wii the Wii, which that's a sentence I never thought I'd say in public. But the most significant announcement, the biggest surprise, was that Valve announced that they are bringing their Steam platform from the PC and the Mac onto the PS3, and that Portal 2 will be coming out for the PS3. Now, keep in mind, Valve's Steam is slowly revolutionizing PC gaming. They made the press release a couple months ago that the number of PCs with Steam installed exceeds the total number of Xbox 360s, the total number of PS3s, the total number of Wiis. They literally are now the world's largest gaming platform is Valve's Steam. And to bring that to the PS3 is pretty big news. I'm
fascinated, but didn't the folks at Steam just a couple months ago, someone it seems say that they basically despised consoles or a particular console that they just rolled out on? Or is my memory faulty on that one?
That's the rumor. Twitter is abuzz with this about face, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about it. But of course, I wouldn't put it past them either to have worked out some kind of backroom deal, or heck, maybe even just made this as well part of a master stroke of publicity.
I noticed part of the 3DS that had you so excited was not getting to wear goofy goggles. How about PS3 gaming? The 3D games, which of course are going to require a 3D HD TV and the big old shutter glasses. Anything there that looks compelling enough for you, Brian Brushwood, man of restraint and professional hair, to pry on a pair of goofy-looking 3D glasses?
I'll do it for the novelty. I'm not going to lie. But as far as being a mass market success, there are certain hurdles that the rest of America may not be interested in jumping. Let me tell you one thing that's really interesting is obviously at E3 you have these gigantic, high-quality, high-definition displays. And boy, it really showcased the limitations of the Nintendo Wii. When you walk around, the displays for the PS3 games were super crisp. Now, keep in mind, the Wii is excellent on gameplay, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I wonder how long it'll be before we see an upgrade to an HD Wii.
Well, I know that in the United States, we've gone from 13% household penetration to 65% household penetration on HD TVs. And yeah, the Wii does not scale well to 1080p at all. We're just about out of time. I know Twisted Metal, people are going nuts about that one. What are the games that everybody's excited about so far at E3, Brian?
Some of the, as you walk around on the floor, you see which ones are being pushed very heavily in the marketing. Found out something interesting about the Tron Evolution. It was pushed very hard by Disney, and they said that the game actually ties in and tells the backstory leading up to the upcoming Tron Legacy movie.
Really?
Which, as a person who's crazy for Tron, I'm excited about. Another thing you're seeing a lot of promotion on is the game Homefront, which is postulates that 5 years down the road, North Korea unifies Korea, takes over Japan, and eventually invades the United States, which sounds a little bit crazy at the surface, but of course, everyone thought that Hitler had no power shortly before World War II. What's interesting about it is that they're really selling the game not based on the gameplay as much as selling the backstory. They recently sent out to a bunch of different publications actual pamphlets, propaganda pamphlets from the people who are overtaking America, explaining how they're saving you from imperialism and capitalism. And the story is actually written by the same person who wrote Red Dawn. So it's interesting to see the pedigree there.
So hopefully the game actually lives up to the marketing campaign leading up to it.
Yeah, well, it's good to see stories sold on the video games. Also often it's about the graphics and the numbers and about how many jumps per second or whatever, but it's good to just see like, hey, here's a really neat world to take your teeth into. Of course, the other thing I'm excited about that I'll definitely be coming to Xbox is Fallout New Vegas coming from Bethesda as well.
Brian Brushwood, ladies and gentlemen, we have him on Scam School. What's the best place to find all things Brian Brushwood?
Head on over to shwood.com. That's SHWOOD.com. From there, you can link over to scamschool.tv, the show about social engineering at the bar and on the street. And, of course, NSFW every Tuesday night on the TWiT network at live.twit.tv.
Brian, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. Dude, watch your ears. It's loud down there.